All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hi.
All right. I'm going to introduce you. So, this is John Adams with Loan Depot, and he has written a book that's really cool about house hacking, which is amazing. And we're going to talk about house hacking for multi-generational properties, which is a very cool. We have lots of people. I'm talking to people all the time anymore that they need a place for grandma to come and live with them. There, people are buying even ahead of time with that intention, with that understanding that they're going to have elderly family members or that their younger children are going to come home after college, things like that. We're seeing a lot of that. So it's a timely topic.
Some of them never move away.
And having a 19-year-old, I'm like, that is sure she's never coming home. That sounds really nice because I miss her. But yeah, yeah, definitely kids are not launching the way they used to. I mean, I know you have young children. I don't know about you, and you're not there yet, but most of my daughter's friends didn't have any interest in getting their driver's license.
My
And
daughter
I,
has no interest in moving out the house, she says, but we'll
well,
see.
I've seen your house. I wouldn't either. I'm just not for nothing. Not for nothing. I completely understand. But okay, so tell me. All right, so you wrote this book. When did you write this book? A couple of years ago.
Yeah,
You were working on.
yeah.
When I was reading it, one of the fun things for me, because I've known you for 20 years, was reading it going, oh, wait, I remember that house. I remember that story, and recognizing so much that was in it was really fun for me. Um, but all right, let's talk about what is house hacking.
Well, house hacking is just a gentle way to say, you know, housing is very expensive. And how do we defray the cost of ownership? How do we offset some other expected costs? And specifically to what you were saying, as we kind of, narrow that down, how do we reduce the cost that it would possibly be like if we were just looking at paying for your kids to have some place to live, paying for grandma to be somewhere, or our mom and dad to come maybe live with us or have an ADU, an accessory dwelling unit, as opposed to paying maybe $6,000 a month in, help,
At a
other
minimum,
than home care.
at a
So,
minimum, it's $6,000 a month. Most of the ones that I'm seeing anymore, you're getting $8,000 to $10,000 a month, and that is not if you're in need of a lot of care.
mhm.
That's just to live there. It's
And
crazy.
so now we're just in a different place right now where folks are not wanting to commit to buy a place. It's expensive. So how do we defray the cost of ownership? So house hacking is a way for us to own a home and kind of figure out another way to pay for the rest of it. So one of the cool things that I'm helping out a lot of younger folks buy a home with right now is trying to buy something that has more than one door on it. And so they're able to, maybe they can't buy a $500,000 house, but they can buy a five or $600,000 duplex. And you say, well, John, gosh, it's more money. But yes, but when you have a rental income, when you have something to help offset or defray that cost, you can qualify for more. And in some cases, we're doing triplexes and quadplexes for some people. They're almost 100% net zeroing. And when you have figured out how to net zero your costs of housing every
That's
month, you have
incredible.
house hacked. That is the definition of
Yes,
house.
absolutely. That's incredible. Wow. So yeah, so and I think a lot of especially the younger generations don't seem to understand, and I don't, everybody what's the phrase I'm looking for? Immediate satisfaction, right? So I talked to a lot of younger people that think they're buying the dream house, like their first house is their only house they're ever going to buy. They don't understand. They absolutely need to start with what can you afford today and grow that equity and grow into the dream house. By the third or fourth or fifth house, which most people are, you're going to be in at least that many homes. By the third or
Mhm.
fourth or fifth house, now you're getting into the dream house, but you're going to start in a two-bedroom condo, or you're going to start in a duplex that's smaller than you want. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be a strategy.
Well, and that's the thing, right? If you don't have anything to bargain with, if you can't come to the table with an asset that's going to help you grow, if you're waiting to save,
Mm-hmm.
then you're always going to be waiting because you're not going to have any bargaining chip to get into that leverage for the next house.
Right.
And I think that's what people are missing by sitting on the sidelines today.
And there's so many people sitting on the sidelines. I know I just had a conversation yesterday. I was in the office and people are frustrated. One, because their parents, well, and not just their parents, but everyone they know bought a house and it has a 3% interest rate. And now they're at what are we at? Six and
The high sixes. We're in the
yeah,
high sixes. But right
yeah.
now, I mean, I'll give you a case in point. I'll give you a couple of examples. So like we've got mom, they're getting to that point where they either need to go to some kind of care or they need to move in. Had a past customer call, their next door neighbor's selling the house. Perfect. They want mom to live right next door because then they're able to take care of them. But moms are tired. Mom doesn't have the income she used to have. They've got a lot of money in the bank. She doesn't want to use all of her money because they've got extended care. They may want to do home health care. So they don't want to, blow through all that money. So how do they buy the house next door? Well, if they wanted to, they could do it all, with investment property. You put 20% down, you'll have that higher interest rate. We talked about 6 point, something right now is the going rate. Well, if you're doing investment property, that's going to be a higher rate. And so there's something interesting called a kitty condo loan. Well, we call them kitty condo loans.
I was going to ask you about that. That was a great concept.
So kitty condo loans are typically, like you've got a daughter, she's down at UCF, and say you wanted to go buy a house for your kitty that's going to college. The idea is that they're qualifying on a home, but maybe they don't have the income because they're going to school full time. So maybe they have a part-time job. They can't pay for a house, but mom and dad could co-sign for them to get that home so they don't have to pay for dormitory fees or whatever. I've got I've actually got one person right now in Orlando. They're doing that very thing right now. They're buying a multi-family house and they're putting their daughter in one, and then they're having their daughter rent out the rest of them to other people. They're house hacking that way. But I digress.
That's amazing.
I digress. You can do the same thing for your parents. It doesn't have to just be your child. And so the benefit to that is you don't have to put 20% down. You don't. Hello.
Sorry, I don't know if you caught the cat walking across.
But the benefit to doing a kitty condo loan for your parents or for your child is one, the interest rate is going to be much better. Two, you're going to be able to put a lower down payment. So instead of having to come up with 20%, even right next door to your house, mom lives in that house. She takes the first position on the mortgage application, and I'm co-signing as a non-applicant. I'm not going to live in the house with mom. Everybody knows this. It's all on the up and up. But I'm co-signing for the ability to repay. I'm showing that I have the financial wherewithal to back mom, dad, or my children so they can buy this house and qualify for it. And I'm going to qualify with that lower down payment, that lower monthly payment, that lower interest rate. And so it's helping people leverage into a house where maybe you don't have all that cash right now.
Yeah, that's amazing. What an absolute. I actually was not aware of that product, which every time I talk to you, I learn something, which is one of the things that I absolutely love about it. About talking to you. Yeah, it's fantastic. But okay, that's interesting. So especially as we're seeing aging parents and we're seeing the financial crunch for the ability, I don't even know why I can't speak, but with the financial crunch, people aren't in a position to spend that $8,000 to $10,000 a month for living in a senior facility. And which is a shame, partly because some of those senior facilities are absolutely incredible. If you visited any of them, I'm like, I'd like to live there. But wow. Okay. Well, that's fantastic. Are you seeing, one of the things that you're really good about too are renovation loans? Are you seeing people modifying their current homes, like coming to you for renovation loans to modify their current homes to accommodate mom and dad or the kids coming back home? What are we seeing with that?
That's a big thing. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. So right now, especially, with us boomers, and we have some folks that, come back and live with us, and mainly our kids. Mom and dad don't really want, our kids or adult children in our house anymore. So an ADU, that auxiliary dwelling unit, becomes a really great option. Number one, because at some point when they do flee the nest, we can rent it out. It's extra space. It could be an extra apartment garage. I'm seeing a lot of garages. We're doing exterior garages that are freestanding with spaces above them with a full living space. And that gives a lot of independence to any of these folks that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So when you have either people come stay with you short term or long term, it's providing options for them, but they don't necessarily be with you under your feet all the time. And so it is on your property, it is in your house, and it's going to add value long term. And we're seeing this a lot more, especially with local law and ordinance. They're allowing this a lot more because they're understanding the pandemic that's facing the real estate challenges of today's needs of Americans.
And I'm glad you mentioned that too, because that's what I'm noticing, and certainly in Duval County. I don't know that we're seeing it so much in St. Johns County right now, but certainly in Duval County, they're starting to allow the accessory dwelling units that they weren't allowing before. They're
Same up
they're
here in
starting to
Nassau,
understand.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know that we'll see it so much in St. Johns County because you have such a new construction boom in St. Johns County. And
Mhm.
I don't think that those communities are necessarily conducive to that. But
Mhm.
we are seeing builders build products that are accommodating that as well. We do see a lot of that.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah.
whether it's a pool, that ADU, that outdoor kitchen area, maybe it's an in-law suite. Maybe we don't have to go in a whole new structure. But, some homes, they don't have that, bedroom downstairs, or you need that
Yes.
extra master ensuite. You don't have that. A renovation loan is a great way to add what's missing to a home. Or
Mhm.
maybe you're looking for a house. Maybe it's not the house you own today, but maybe you keep looking for the house and it's the but loan, because it's that this house would be perfect, but. And so the renovation loan is the but loan. It gets rid of the but that you're dealing with in order to make your search end right there. You found the house that's in the perfect community in the area you want. It's right next to the shopping areas you want. It's right next to your church, wherever it is. And you can stop shopping and you can start living. And you
Oh, I
can
like that.
tailor it. Yeah, you can tailor it to meet the needs of your family.
And explain what a renovation loan is, because I don't think everybody knows.
Yeah, and so they could be completely preferential. A lot of people don't really go looking for a renovation loan. People look for a house, right? And
Mhm.
so a renovation loan is simply the ability to add what is needed, either to complete the loan process to make the house, sound, safe, and sanitary for someone to live in. Maybe it doesn't have all the components. Maybe you're shopping for a VA loan or something that's a little more stringent on the property condition. And so either you can add those things, or it could be completely preferential. Maybe it's got red shag carpet or popcorn ceilings, or laminate countertops, or any of these items. Maybe you're just trying to add that extra ensuite. Maybe it needs an additional bathroom, that ADU we talked about. Any of these things with a renovation loan, we can add for future value to the home, either in a purchase or a refinance. And we do
So
that
you
with a
can
contractor's bid and estimate.
so you can add an accessory dwelling unit, like you could add a garage apartment, or can you add an exterior garage? Can you actually create a whole different building? Wow.
You absolutely can.
I don't know that I was aware of that. See, every
Wherever
time I
it's
talk to you.
zoned and local law and ordinance will allow it, yes, you can do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I mean, that opens up so many opportunities for people. That's crazy.
Mhm.
I love that, because I am seeing we're getting to the point. A lot of the products that are being built today, I don't think are necessarily particularly conducive to this lifestyle, right? Townhomes, which are I love a townhome. Townhomes are good, affordable ways to get into a single family home. You don't have the condo fees and all associated with it. We don't have to talk about the people that come to me that want townhomes with no homeowners association, which is a terrible idea. My first thing when someone comes to me and says, I don't want a homeowners association, is, okay, let's go drive by some communities that don't have homeowners associations, and then let's talk, because I can show you why you do want one. But a lot of the townhomes, it doesn't have that downstairs bedroom. So that kind of goes into the house hacking thing, and going into, you're not buying your dream home, you're buying your first home or your second home, and moving up into these properties and building that equity and using the equity from the townhome that may not be conducive to what you want 15 or 20 years from now, but getting there, getting to that property that you can then adjust and make it exactly what you need. Create
Right.
that.
And there's something to be said for sweat equity and being able to buy into a home and do some repairs over time. And that's not really what a renovation loan is for. But I mean, like if you were
Right,
trying to buy a home,
sorry, go ahead. Oh,
if you're trying to buy a home and like maybe the roof is not in good condition or something like that, that's a great idea. If the house doesn't work the way, the functional obsolescence is there and you need it to work a different way, then this is a great option for you. If you have multifamily, we have a lot of historic Springfield. That's a good way to house hack and get those back to either multifamily or even back to a single family. I've seen those in some cases down in St. Augustine.
Yeah.
We did one just here in Fernandina where we added what I was just talking about, that garage apartment, brand new garage with an apartment over top of it. These folks had a high functioning Down syndrome daughter. They rehabbed the historic property up front and they were able to put in this carriage home in the back. So she's got a lot of independence. She can live in her home. She's within, bicycling distance to Publix, and she has her own life now. So
that's amazing.
It's really giving a lot of independence to people and allowing them to live on site. Same thing with children or even aging parents and in-laws.
Yeah, because I mean, I think that's the thing that scares. I don't know about you, but that definitely scares me. The thought of losing independence is just untenable. And
I think that's the most crippling thing about going into like a nursing home. You lose that. You don't really have the ability to do what you want for your lifestyle anymore. All you have is a remote control.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I can't imagine how difficult that is. And to allow our aging parents to age with some dignity, I think is huge. Absolutely huge. While we're still able to take care of them. Or like you're saying, a high functioning child with some disabilities. That's what an incredible story. I'm having, I don't have my act together today.
That's okay.
But no, there was something that you brought up that I was going to mention, and I don't even know what it was now. One of the topics that you'd kind of sent me a list earlier. One of the topics is if you've got children that you're moving into your property or something like that, renting to family. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the financial aspect of this, because it's all well and good to create this and help your kids, and we all want to do that, but that's not sustainable. You're not going to pay. You don't want to be paying your 30-year-old kid's mortgage either.
Yeah, so doing business with family can be difficult, right? And so always suggested from a standpoint of financial advising and wealth advising, no matter if it is your family, that you have something in writing. You have an agreement, so you all know the terms of engagement from the get-go. And it does sound a little bit harsh when you think about, oh well, I'm gonna put a lease with my mom and my dad. And yes, I do. Both my mom and then my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, we own family trust property, and we allow them to live there, and for a very nominal fee. But we do have something in place. Number one, because if there's not anything in writing, it didn't happen, right? And then there's certain liabilities, right? And you have to put that in writing to make sure everything is covered, because in a perfect world, nothing would ever go wrong. But unfortunately, there's third parties out there that might go over to that house. And if they slip and fall and you own the property, they're a tenant in your house. It doesn't matter to the family. And so there's a lot of attorneys out there that make their whole career on suing people. So you really need to be protected. So you need to have insurance. You need to talk to your financial planner. You need to have leases set up in place. And you do need to make sure that there's clear understanding of what's to happen and who pays what, who's on first, what's on second. So talk to your financial planner, talk to your CPA, make sure that you have your team and your plan put in firmly into place, so that there's no oops or accidents, because the only the only thing you can do by proper planning is prevent things from happening. The thing that'll happen is if you're not prepared, if you haven't done any of that, that's the time it happens.
Yes,
Insurance is only good when you need it, right? And
yes.
so if you haven't planned, then that's usually when it happens.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a huge fan of making the paperwork match the intention. Like we're not
Mm.
trying to get you with it with the paperwork or anything, but you've got to have that straight. And I'm a huge fan of having your team in place in life too. We definitely need that. And kind of thinking back a little bit when you're talking about the kitty condo loan, the thing that I think is cool about that too is your child is on that mortgage. So your child is building that credit. Your child has ownership of that property, right? Or if you're using that for your parents or whoever it is, they have ownership of that property and they're I don't know what's wrong with me today. Oh
Well,
my God.
right. And so you're
Such public
financially
speaking.
obligating yourself. Well, that's the good thing. I mean, that case in point, you're financially, if you're signing for mom and dad, if you're signing for your child to get a house, you are entitled with them and you are financially obligated. So if somebody stops making that payment, there's going to be consequences to pay. So there
Yes.
needs to be something in writing to make sure everybody knows the rules of engagement. Because if Junior stops paying his fair share,
Mm-hmm.
maybe he
You're on the
flunks
hook
out of
for it.
college. I'm gonna go find another student to pay me my mortgage. You're not living there for free. I love my kids to death, but when that
Yeah.
day comes and I will house hack, it's going to be a long-term investment. And what I hope is that they treat it as such, and I'm able to give that to them in my trust, because all my properties, it's another part of the book in my planning for my
Mm-hmm.
clients, is everything goes into your family trust. And that way, when you do pass, you don't have to worry about probate or having to go through the court system. And there's certain tax advantages and implications that you can do to help in your multi-generational living real estate, to pass that to your heirs, and hopefully they can enjoy and appreciate that and do that for their generations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Well, and that also goes back to having your right team in place. And part of that, by the way, and people don't think about this, and yes, you have to have an attorney but one of the things that I notice when I do deal with people, unfortunately, things do happen with families and people get divorced, and which is unfortunate, but it happens. And we know it happens, more than half the time. Um, you have to make sure you're listening to the right people. I do see, and this is one of the things that drives me absolutely crazy, is the divorce attorney will say, that's okay. In the divorce, she gets to keep the house, or whoever gets to keep the house. And you're going to quit claim your right to that property over. You're going to sign the house over. Yep. I see that look on your face. You're going to sign the house over, and whoever's keeping the house is going to be responsible for the payment. However, because you haven't talked to a real estate attorney, you're talking to your divorce attorney. What gets missed in all of this is you've now signed any rights you have over to the property, but you're still on that mortgage more than likely, which means
Yeah.
you still have all the responsibility for the payment, and everything's fine as long as that mortgage is being paid, right? It's always fine when it's fine. The minute something goes wrong, you don't actually have any rights to that property. You just have the responsibility. Yeah.
That's the
So you
problem.
have to make sure that you've got the right team in place. But I'm a huge fan of having your team in place. All
Excellent.
right. So let's talk about the book a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's talk. Let's get that up there. Can we see it?
Yeah.
There we go. The renovation loans, I've worked with you for almost 20 years now. So, and you definitely helped some of my clients with renovation loans, and it's been huge for them. But talk about why you wrote the book, because I think it's amazing.
So I wrote the book because I think that it combines a lot of the elements that a lot of the trainers out there, the big ticket trainers, want to sell you $1,000 course, or they want to take you through a seminar. And I wanted to show you some case study throughout all the clients that I've helped, and then some failures and some successes that I've had personally. So the book is a culmination of a lot of other people's work, a lot of my clients that have done well. And I've told you some of the things that in the book that I regret and that I wish I would have known or didn't do. And most of those I did as a professional in real estate. So Yes, we make mistakes too. There's not a concise book on how to become a real estate investor, but the whole idea of making a pretty accessible, cheap book. If you go to Amazon, if you pay for Kindle, it's free to download.
No
And so the
kidding.
reason why I did that is, number one is I wanted to combine all my knowledge for real estate into an easy guide that anybody could read. It's such an easy 100-page or so book in very big print, so even I can read them. And then it goes through some of the things I've done wrong and what most of my successful clients have done right, including myself, and how to build real estate wealth. Now, a lot of that does have to do with renovation lending, but it touches on the Robert Kiyosaki BRRRR method. And a renovation loan is nothing more than Robert Kiyosaki's BRRRR method, which is you're buying a home, you're finding out how you can renovate it or bring it up to par, rent it out, refinance it, and then repeat. And honestly, quite honestly, since I went from failure in real estate to where I am now, I've done that 28 times, 28 times from my last oops. And now I've amassed a small fortune. And it's not because I just do loans, because, you know, if you just do loans or if you just go work your daily job, you're not going to ever get wealthy. You may, you know, be outside the mold and may be able to become wealthy, but real estate, you know, 2/3 of the world enjoys their wealth because of real estate. And so it's such a untapped resource that I don't think people know how to get into. And I give them away to a lot of the clients that pre-approve with me. I do sell it online. It's for a charity for Canines for Warriors. We donate 100% of our profits to that. It says in the book $2 per copy, but literally we give every penny that we have that we make off that book to Canines for Warriors, because I'm passionate about helping PTSD vets, and I love the fact that they are helping animals that otherwise may not even have a home. So two very good groups that are close to my heart, and it gets the word out about how to create wealth. So if you're somebody that, man, I'd love to get into real estate, I'm just scared, I don't know how, this is a good read, because it's going to tell you all the things I've done wrong and how I tripped and fall. And then, so, you know, how a lot of my just everyday clients have gone from their everyday job. There's a produce manager I helped. There's a produce manager that's a multi-million-dollar real estate owner, and he did that from a, you know, $50,000 a year job. So
Wow.
if you're interested in becoming wealthy with real estate, anybody can do it. It does take time, effort, and energy, though. And you don't have to buy 25 houses a year. You can do one house a year over 10 years. If you have 10 houses, I can guarantee you're going to have enough money in retirement not to eat cat food.
Fair enough. Absolutely. Oh my God, I love that. And I love that the book, I'm going to put it back up again, and I'm going to put a link when I post this stuff, I'm going to put a link to it too.
TheHouseHackingBook.com.
TheHouseHackingBook.com. I love it. Yes.
Yep.
So we'll put a
I'll take
link.
you to the Amazon store. Yeah, definitely help out. And it'll help donate to the charity for Canines for Warriors.
Well, yeah, and it's an amazing book. And I mean, I've watched you do this over the years, and I also know where you live right now. And it's absolutely stunning. That property is amazing. Yeah, like it's been fun because we started pre-2008 in this largely together, and we've seen the ups and downs of everything. Everything's got a cycle to it. But yeah, it's just incredible. Well, very cool. And I know this is getting ready to cut us off in like 3 minutes. But I feel like there's something I'm leaving that I wanted to talk about.
Unknown caller.
Sorry. The nice thing is the way this works, these clips will come out. So this, like all the weird stuff in the middle, gets cut out. I mean, I think that pretty much covered everything. I would at some point, let's definitely talk about renovation loans. Oh, you know what? Talk a little bit. We've got a couple of minutes. Talk about the different types of renovation loans, like, because I know you do all different kinds. So kind of just run down, because you've got FHA, there's VA, there's all these things. So talk a little bit about that, because we'll get a good clip for that too.
Cool. So, I mean, I teach a 3-hour CE that's issued by FREC, Florida Real Estate Commission, and I teach that all over Florida and all the different real estate boards. And it's predominantly I made that for spreading the word about the gospel of the renovation Pentecost. And so, what that means is there's 3 different products. There's 3 different flavors of renovation loans. They come in VA. So, yes, with a VA loan, you can buy and include renovations. And there's no real cap on it. There's some companies that do have that. But if a veteran wants to buy a home in almost any condition, they can add pretty much anything to the home as long as it appraises. Same thing
Well,
with
and
FHA.
I was going to
Go
say,
ahead.
but that's huge because not everybody's doing those VA renovation loans. That is
Mhm.
definitely something that's uniquely kind of you. And it is huge because one of the problems, the VA loans, they've earned the ability to get into a house with no money down and on that path to home ownership, but they're very stringent about what the property has to look like and be like. So to be able to help them find their dream home that they can get into is just it that is uniquely you. There's not a lot
Yeah.
of people out there doing that.
And if you're a VA qualified and you want to go buy a 4-plex down in Springfield and fix it up, there's not really a lot of alternatives. But a VA renovation loan can harness the power of the veteran being able to buy a home, include all the renovations, use the 2-3 other units to offset the income to qualify for the house, and pay for the renovation. I mean, that's a home run for somebody that wants a young serviceman or woman that wants to become a house hacker early
Yeah,
on in their career and have an asset that could potentially pay for itself
yeah,
and
absolutely.
grow throughout their service. And so that's the whole idea. Same thing with FHA. If somebody's just millennial house buyer, Gen Z house buyer, they want to go buy a home, minimal down payment, include all the renovations, up to 4 units, you can do that. And then there's the home style renovation loan, and the home style is a conventional flavor. So we talked about VA, we talked about FHA, and the VA, the conventional option will allow you to not only do that as a primary occupant, up to 4 units with as little as 5% down if you're a primary occupant, as little as 10% down if it's a second home, and as little as 15% down for investors. So it's a much better option than these fix and flip loans that have higher interest rates because it's a conventional product. And so that's all there for you in order to, and I do have some little exciting news I just thought about that I really haven't announced. So I'll just use this as a springboard to announce it. We're
Love
one
it.
of the first, we're one of the first and only lenders, and I'm one of the only lenders for my company that's allowed to do the first time home buyer down payment assistance program and streamline renovation loans
Wow.
in the state of Florida. So
That's,
Florida Housing Corporation, any of their programs, I can now combine with the renovation platform, and we just got approved for it this week.
oh my gosh, I mean, that's just unbelievable because there's a lot of ugly houses out there right now.
So
Um,
one of 2 companies that is doing a pilot with Florida Housing Corporation, and so if this goes well, other lenders will be able to participate as well. But we haven't started, yelling from the rooftops yet. But as soon as our marketing is out, we'll be talking more about that.
oh, I love it. And we can definitely talk more. Yeah, we can definitely do this again and talk more about that when I have my act together better too. I love it. Well, this
Well, I
is getting ready
appreciate
to.
you for having me on. Thank you.
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. I love it. This is going, yeah, this is going to cut us off here in about a minute or so. But I thank you so much for doing this. This is fantastic. I'm so excited. And I'm excited to talk about house hacking because people don't, I end up in these conversations all the time with young buyers that they don't understand. They think they have to buy the dream home. And it's just,
Yeah.
and you get there, but you don't start with the dream home. You get there and this is how you do it. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day and I will talk to you later.
All right. See you, Lesley.
Take care. That was awesome! Exclamation point. Thank you so much. Period. I'll get this uploaded this afternoon.